And I kind of got a breakthrough a couple weeks ago that instead of feeling the pain, hug God, that let God know that I love him and that's all he needs. But it's a daily struggle for me to even function, because everything that we are as humans is I feel like we're a bacteria, and like we're the worst bacteria that the earth has ever seen. We are overpopulated and we use every resource up, and we just are taking over like this bacteria that we can't stop breeding. And I just have such a hard time functioning in the earth, knowing that I'm not, that everything I do is hateful. That doesn't come from a place of love.
Yeah. Life is a matter of dealing with a motley crew. But you cannot afford to become preoccupied by how motley the crew is. Else, you will be inclined to withhold your expression of love. One of the ways you've described of withholding love is that an idea has formed that mankind is a bacteria. You see, the motley crew is so terrible that it's completely unlovable. And the way it's being produces nothing but pain. Nothing but pain.
And for me, it's like, it's fact. It's a fact that there's global warming and that things are dying. It's for me, for people I talk to, sometimes it's like we kind of all have a knowingness that driving cars are bad and that the glaciers are melting. But for me, but now it's like, it's a fact. Like, oceans are dying and their weather is changing, and it's like kind of a fact now. And I just have a hard time sending love to Earth and humankind when it's not black and it's not foggy anymore. It's like, it's a reality.
I know. So and so, if you only knew, is really a bastard. I'm sorry. No matter how bleak and dark the picture is painted, healing is still needed. And the ones needing to be healed deserve the healing. And, as I said, you're going to have to finally ask, is this the situation? Is this the world condition? Is this circumstance whereby food is provided going to be the thing that causes me to shut down completely because it's all so awful that nobody deserves the love that I am experiencing is not only available to us, but is the truth about us? Is this going to be the circumstance that shuts you down? And you've got to say no. And you stay with the experience of love that you have and the clarity that you have, and then you dare to have enough courage and commitment to engage in the education that is necessary to show those who are unaware of their divinity that they have an option. Dare to have the courage, the energy, and the commitment to embody God, to embody that love. And where is it going to need to be embodied? Right where it seems least deserved. Whatever ignorance you currently have of your divinity, in whatever way you are not totally awake right now, your attitudes and your behavior affect others with less inspiration than you are capable of giving. And so they suffer to some degree. So you've got to not be fuzzy. Re-education, the expression of clarity that will heal, is not going to arise out of the pain you find yourself feeling when truth becomes utterly clear to you. You're going to have to notice the inconsistency without reacting to it and stay with the truth that inspires the words that bring about the transformation. And the words that will help provide a new point of view that allows the behavior to change. You know what? Ignorance or evil has always been awful. When you weren't particularly conscious of the truth, you didn't notice how awful evil was. It's like, I've said before, it's like living in a house without electricity, and you've learned, like a blind person, how to function quite well. And then, for whatever reason, a little bit of light begins to fill the room. And you can begin to see the shapes of things that you could only feel before. And as more light comes, you realize that everything is neat and tidy because you arranged it that way from feel. But there's a lot of dust that's collected that you couldn't see and you couldn't feel, and it's a mess. And so the illumination has uncovered some work for you to do, and some ugliness that you didn't know was there. Well, you can either curse the light because it's given you more to do, or you can be grateful for the light so that it's easy to clean up and keep clean. You see? So, like the woman back there who wanted to be able to be the epitome of weepy femininity, I don't want to be a woman or an individual who lets herself be overcome by the mess that illumination brings to light, because it will distract you from validating the light and the clarity and then implementing it or embodying it in the world. The awfulness of evil isn't more real because now you can see it, where before you were insulated against it. That's important. Just because it's more obvious to you doesn't mean it's gotten more real. Healing is still necessary.
I totally understand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you do not want to become periodically immobilized by the awfulness of evil.
So how do I see the love and everything?
You ask God to show it to you. You look at the thing and you don't jump to any conclusions on your own. You look at a thing, and if you remember what I've said today, you say, there's more here than what I'm seeing. And the more that's here is utterly divine. It is the presence of creation, God's creation. It is therefore perfect. It is therefore indivisible. It is therefore an expression of utter pure harmony. And I'm not seeing it. God, I care enough about this person or this thing to want to see it truly, to acknowledge the truth that's in it. Reveal it to me, please, so that I may extend that correct experience to it. And you persist with that.
Can I extend on that? So that's what I've been doing, and then when I get to that point, I feel pain. It's like I feel God's pain that I'm looking at and perceiving isn't loving Him.
God is incapable of experiencing pain.
Okay.
It isn't that what he's seeing isn't loving him back, because what he's seeing is what he created in its wholeness. What you might say he sees is that part of creation doesn't know that it's loving him back.
Okay.
Is unconscious of the love that it is. But he doesn't take the bait of believing it for a minute and continues to love that one flawlessly and to provide opportunities for that one to reawaken to its function and not suffer from definitions that it has created that block it from seeing the truth. And you must persist with your brother or brothers or organizations or companies of individuals in denying the suggestion that they are all bacteria, viruses, something awful and unlovable. And ask God for words that you can keep in your mind, that keep alive in you an awareness of those the worthiness of those individuals to be honored and loved by you, because they are more than they think they are, and they are more than your reactions would define them as. I didn't say this wouldn't be work. I didn't say this wouldn't take commitment. I didn't say this wouldn't take persistence. But what I want you to understand is that you're not really having to overcome the awfulness of mankind. What you're having to overcome and where the work is, where the work lies, is on the work you're doing inside yourself to address the question, is this the circumstance? Is that the corporation? Is that the individual who is actually going to succeed in getting me to block my function. And it's the unblocking of your function which is where the work is. And it's work because you're undoing a style of perceiving that has become a habit to you. You see?
I just have a really hard time because I feel like if I don't hold some kind of judgment, then I'm saying it's okay.
If judgment means a discernment between what works and what doesn't, that's all right. But if judgment means the application of a condemnation, that is not all right. You don't have to condemn someone because their behavior is misguided, because they are ignorant. You see?
Yeah.
Be careful. Judgment, truly, is the capacity to discern between what fits and what doesn't fit, what works and what doesn't work, what's true and what's not true, and there's no emotion to it. When there gets to be emotion, now a condemnation or a process of evaluation for the purpose of coming to a penalty of some sort has been engaged in. And the minute you're engaged in that, you have said, I am withholding my love here. I will not be what I am. I will not let my function because I am busy holding a judgment which has as its end result the paying of a penalty.
Thank you so much. I really got that.
Good.
Yeah.
It will save you a lot of grief.
Yeah, I feel it totally different. It's
Excellent.
not condemning it, it's just not having an emotion behind it. I understand. Thank you.
You are welcome. We are going to take a short break. Okay. Hands. Right here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm wondering about form and formlessness, in the sense that you've often talked about that there's no such thing as unmanifest God. And yet, I think in the Course you use the word formlessness, and in a lot of literature they talk about formlessness as being well, I'm not sure, like some ideal state or something. So I'm curious what you would say about that. And last time I was here, a friend of mine asked about her mother, who had passed on. And what you said was that she had chosen to not incarnate again. And so I'm curious why you phrased it like that. If there's only manifest God always. The person is always incarnated somewhere. Are they incarnated where they are? And I'm assuming yes. But then why did you say they chose not to incarnate again? Something like that.
Well, let's put it this way. Let's say you want to go to New York. And so you make a plane reservation, you catch the plane, and you go to New York, and you arrive in New York by means of the plane. And then, let's say that you learn how to teleport, and you want to go to New York. So, you teleport to New York. And you've chosen not to arrive there by means of an airplane. To not incarnate again means to choose not to arrive here by means of a birth process. That is what I meant by that. There is never a fraction of a moment that you are not identified and identifiable, which means there is never a moment that you are bodiless.
Do you use the word formless in the Course?
Of course. Just a moment. Mind, your mind, is formless. And every idea that it has is recognizable to it. And the recognizability of it occurs in mind. Its recognizability could be called form, but I have referred to it as visibility and tangibility. Because you associate the word form with matter, with density, and mortality. And ideas are immortal. The recognizability of them is, as I was mentioning earlier, about light forms. That the light forms constitute the recognizability of the meaning embodied by the idea in the mind of God. When you identify with an idea, or let us say when you identify with form, you stop identifying yourself as the presence of formless mind in which the idea or the form is being experienced. When you shift from mind identification to identification with an idea, you seem to lose your universality, and you tend to become highly focused on the details of the energy of the form. A light form, a form constituted of I'm going to say, a pattern of energy, of light, is not matter. It doesn't fill space, because what it is meaning experienced. So in that sense, it is still formless as you would normally use the word. Meaning it does not have density, solidity, even though it is fully capable of being felt. Period. You could say that creation, the ideas unfolding in the mind of God, are formless. But this simply means that there are no material accompaniments to the meaning of the idea that is recognizable as something specific. Are you following me?
Mm-hmm. Couldn't you just as easily say it's all form?
I could, except that you all have very definite definitions of the word form. The only way to get past your definitions and still keep your attention on the fact that there is something there is to refer to it as an idea, which all of you know is, associate. You associate the meaning of intangibility to an idea. And this helps to communicate what form is, what body is, what leaf is, what glass is, and so on. It's meaning, capital M, meaning. Specific, and useful. I mean by that there is not a single idea God has that is useless or irrelevant. It fits into the whole and gives meaning to the whole. W-H-O-L-E. Until it dawns on you that what you're calling your body is an idea, and that the wall is an idea, you will not be able to walk through the wall. And as long as you continue to use the word form, which has associations of matter or materiality to it, you will not be able to walk through the wall, because both your body and the wall are dense. Using the word form will not trigger an illumination of the densitylessness of ideas, and therefore your capacity to move through anything. It will also never occur to you, as long as you're using your current definition of the word form, that because your body is an idea, and every part of your body our ideas.